Well, hello. Welcome to reading Matthew in Lent. I'm Pastor Rick Williams. It is, what is it? It's Monday, March 22nd. Wow. Rapidly approaching Easter, less than 2 weeks away now. And we are also approaching the end of our reading. Yesterday was Sunday. Hopefully you watched us online or you were here. We had a great turnout at church yesterday. I think we had 46 people. And with spacing, it worked out well. It made the church look full, but still kept everybody safe. And so it was nice to see everybody yesterday. We are, Saturday we read chapter 23, which was the 7 woes to the scribes and the Pharisees, and Jesus was kind of letting them have it, and it was also kind of a reminder and a wake-up call to all of us about what to watch out for and to not be like the scribes and Pharisees. And sometimes we have a tendency to do that. And then we heard Jesus lamenting over Jerusalem. So now I wound up with 2 pair of glasses in my pocket. Not sure how that happened. And so now today in chapter 24, the opening section is Jesus foretelling the destruction of the temple. And, and then he talks about the signs of the close of the age, and the close of the age being basically, for our purposes, the end of time. It's for Christ's return, and he's going to give us some thoughts on that. So without any further ado, we will begin with chapter 24. Jesus left the temple and was going away when his disciples came to point out to him the buildings of the temple. But he answered them, "You see all these, do you not? Truly I say to you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down." As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and the close of the age?" And Jesus answered them, "See that no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and they will lead many astray, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places, and all these are but the beginning of the birth pains. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in his house. Let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And alas, for women who are pregnant and those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray that your flight may not be in winter or on a Sabbath, for then there will be great tribulation, such as had not been known from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Then if anyone says to you, 'Look, here's the Christ,' or 'There he is,' do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. So, if they say to you, 'Look, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. If they say, look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of man. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. From the fig tree learn its lesson. As soon as its branches become tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also when you see all these things, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But concerning the day and the hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day when Noah entered the ark. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Who then is the faithful and wise servant, whom his master has set over his household, to give them their food at the proper time? Blessed is the servant whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that wicked servant says to himself, my master is delayed, and begins to beat his fellow servants and eat and drink with drunkards, the masters of the servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, at an hour he does not know, and will cut him in pieces and put him with the hypocrites in that place where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. Boy, that's quite a chapter, isn't it? Maybe tomorrow, because we're trying to make up some time here, maybe tomorrow I might just take some time and go into this chapter a little more in depth and with some a little more explanation of what's going on. It's probably a little more than I could do right now. One of the things that we need to know especially when you read this chapter, it makes it sound like this is one continuous thing, and it's not. The thing we have to remember is back in the very beginning, they asked Jesus not 1, not 2, but 3 separate questions. See, it says, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the close of the age? So they want to know when these things are going to happen, what will be the signs of Christ's coming, and then what will be the signs of the closing age. And Jesus answers all 3 of those questions. The problem is when you just read this through directly, straight through, it's very easy for those to become intertwined, and it makes it difficult to follow. Like the one part says here, see that no one leads you astray, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. And they will lead many astray, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you're not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. And all those things are but the beginning of the earth pangs. That's not the end. And now we're in a new paragraph, and then he says, then they will deliver you up to tribulation. They will put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Now he's talking about the disciples. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another, and many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. This was something that Paul and Timothy and all of the disciples were dealing with even in that first century after Christ, in that first generation after left. And because lawlessness will be increased and the love of many will grow cold, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. And that's why many people feel that until the gospel has been preached to every corner and every person on earth, Christ won't return. And there are still places on this earth, believe it or not, in this day and age, where the gospel has not been preached and people have not been reached. But, that's why we are not tempted, that's why we say things like, when's he coming? Soon. Because that won't be too much longer. And so, like I say, maybe tomorrow I will take a little time to dig into this a little more in depth. Because then in chapter 25, Jesus has a bunch of parables that go along with what happened in the reading today. It's the parable of the 10 virgins, and it's the parable of the talents. And then he also talks about the final judgment, which, as most of you who know me know, that's one of my favorite readings in all of Scripture. It's the separation of the sheep and goats. So, like I say, we're going to play it by ear. But I think maybe tomorrow, I will do a little research tomorrow during the day. I'm going to, well, tomorrow, it won't be tomorrow. It'll be today for you. On Monday, I'm going to do some more research. And maybe on Tuesday, we will dig a little deeper into this chapter 24. I'll make some notes. We'll pull some stuff together. We'll talk about the tribulation. There's the section in here where our evangelical friends talk about the rapture that comes in on chapter 24 over there on verses, starting with verse 40. It says, then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, one will be left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, one will be left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. And that's where that notion or understanding of the rapture comes in. Any of you ever saw the Left Behind series or read the books? They spend a fair amount of time, particularly in the first book, talking about the rapture, because that's what happens. And all of those who are Christians at that time are taken up to be in heaven. And then the 7-year tribulation and all that stuff begins. And that's one of the different, I'm going to use the big word eschatologies here. There are a number of different eschatologies, which is study of the end times. That is the, I believe that's the dispensational millennialism. There's a big word for you, too, if you want to talk about that. We don't necessarily agree to that dispensational millennialism. We are what we call amillennialists. We believe that the millennium started the day Christ left, that the tribulation started the day Christ was taken into heaven, and the tribulation continues until the day that Christ returns. And if you don't believe we're living in tribulation, turn on your TV. So anyway, maybe, like I say, tomorrow we will talk about this some more. I think that might be a good idea. So, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, let me know. And then that way, on Thursday, we would come back with the parable of the 10 virgins, the parable of the talents, and then the final judgment, the parable of the sheep and goats. And like I say, that might help stretch out our time a little bit. It also, I might wind up doing the same thing for chapter 25 because it's kind of long and it's kind of detailed, and we might even get an extra day out of that, and that might just work perfectly well on getting us to the end of, chapter 28 on a reasonable time. So, like I say, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, let me know. Give me a call, give me a text, shoot me a message. I think you all know how to get a hold of me. I hope you do. Come knock on my door or my window or whatever. And we'll look at that in more detail because it is a very important part of our faith, and that is the understanding and belief of the end times, of the resurrection, and all of those kind of things. That's what it's all about. That's how we find ourselves in heaven for eternity. So, join me with that. And so I hope to see you tomorrow. I hope you're having a really good day. I know yesterday was absolutely gorgeous. We had to go over to Little Girls Point yesterday, and we had a great time over there with the folks there. It was beautiful. A lot of people out on the beach yesterday collecting rocks. All the ice was gone. Pretty much all the snow was gone. The deer were still hanging around, though. But, yeah, so I hope you had a good day yesterday. Hope you're having a great day today. I look forward to talking with you all tomorrow. So please join me then. And as always, be happy, be healthy, be kind, be faithful, be cheerful, be giving, be loving, be neighborly. Be ever watchful for the return of our Savior. That we'll hear in that parable, the parable of the 10 virgins and the parable of the talents. So, yeah, let's keep an eye out because Christ is going to return one of these days. It's been a while, so some people tend to think that maybe it's not going to happen in my lifetime. And that's exactly what those parables will be like when we get to. So, have a great day. And be happy, be healthy, and all that kind of good stuff. And until we meet again, until I see you all, be safe and love the Lord. Have a great day, and God bless.